Yeah, now you can tell the difference. It's running on all 7. Before, when you prime them, you only prime them the top 4 cylinders on these engines because you don't want to introduce any fluids, gas, to the lower cylinders. So,
just accumulate in the bottom cylinders?
Yeah, well, you don't want any of that because it'll hydraulic lock, right? So you can get huge damage to the engine. So that's why they only prime the top cylinders. And the bad thing about that is when it starts, it doesn't sound so healthy because it's only running on 4 cylinders, and it takes some time for the fuel to find its way to the bottom cylinders and to be ignited. Right. And now you can see it's running fine. All right. Oil pressure is fine. My oil temperature, we need to let it warm up some. My oil temp gauge is about 28. Yours is what, about 20?
Yeah, 20.
That oil temp gauge up in the front, it'll catch up to mine, but it takes it some time. But we're going to go by my temp back here for now.
Okay.
So let's go ahead and start our checklist. You remember what we do? Cigar, all right. Let's go ahead and do that.
Got the controls.
Yep, looking good. Everything feel okay?
Yep.
All right.
Instruments.
Good. Just set your altimeter, and set it at 800 feet.
All right.
So when we're in the pattern, you can reach over, bring the power back all the way to idle. There we go. It's starting to roll forward. Rather than use the brakes, we're going to adjust all that by using power. We don't need to have that much power in it anyway. Okay, so 800 feet. So our pattern altitude generally is 800 feet above the ground. So when we're in the pattern, we're going to want to be at about 1,600 feet. Okay.
Right.
We have our airspeed 0 ball is in the middle. Now remember, step on the ball when you're making a right-hand turn. A little right rudder, left-hand turn 0 because of the torque.
Yep.
Your vertical speed indicator, we've never even really talked about that, and we're not going to really talk about it today either.
Use it a little.
Yeah, a little bit. Your tack, you remember how all that works, just like a muscle car. So it's bouncing around. What do you think? Like 350 RPM?
Yeah, that's what I'm seeing.
Yeah. Oil pressure is on the bottom scale, bottom of the green scale at about 60 PSI. You can see, at least mine's kind of moving around a little bit.
With the ground optic.
I have that set at about 70 PSI, so it's going to come up, or 80 PSI, it's going to come up about another 20 pounds in flight. So all that was looking good. G is gasoline, your fuel level, there it is. They got a little bit more than a half a tank, so each quarter tank is an hour of flight time, and you can see that bobber's moving.
Yep.
So it's a live reading. It's not stuck, yeah. Mixture's rich on the left, on the throttle quadrant, and the fuel is on. So that's great to see. Elevator trim tab, I'm looking at it. It looks about where we want it, to be honest with you. It's a little nose down trim. Maybe it's about 2 degrees. Why don't you move that to about 1 degree? So bring they're right around in there. Yeah, I think that's going to be where we want it to be. Carburetor heat. At this point of the day, I'm going to check the temperature and see what it is. I think we're outside of the realm of possibility for ice. I think it stops at 72 degrees. And right now we are, what are we now? It says it's 67. And it's going to be at 2 o'clock, it's 75, so we're not going to get any ice. So the last letter we have is R, run up. We'll check our engine once it warms out by the runway. So now let's go ahead and listen to our ATIS. Here we go.
ATIS or ATIS?
ATIS, Automated Transcribed Information Service. Automated Transcribed Information Service is what that means. Here we go. Oh, that's the wrong one. This is the right one.
Wind 1809er, gust 16. Visibility 10, sky clear below 12,000, temperature 2.17, altimeter 2987, runway 17, visual approach in use. Advise on initial contact if information India.
All right, so that's the end of it. Here's the beginning of it. Let's listen to this. We almost heard everything on that one,
Kalamazoo
though.
Tower, information India, 1653 Zulu, wind 1809er, gust 16, Visibility
180 at Niner, which is 9 knots. That's 10 miles an hour. Gusting to 16 knots, which is 17.5 miles an hour. It's just about right on the nose. And this was taken at the top of the hour. So right now we're looking at, it's 137. So I'm going to call the tower. I'm going to tell them again who we are. You're going to be struggling when you start your flying career with the radio communications until you realize basically you're saying the same stuff over and over and over again, and it's not such a big deal. Exactly. It's really not a big deal, but when you start, you're a little intimidated by it. I'm going to tell them who I am, Stearman 1, where I'm at the airport so the guy can see me. I'm at the air zoo. I've listened to India. Got to tell him that. And then we're ready to taxi. If I don't tell him where I want to taxi, he's going to assume I want to go all the way to the end. I do not. That's a mile from here. We don't need a mile runway. We got 3,000 feet from the intersection. So I'll kind of guide you out there. And then I'm going to tell him what we're going to do. Kalamazoo ground, Stearman 1, we're at the air zoo with India, ready to taxi 17 Foxtrot.
Stearman 1, Kalamazoo ground, runway 17 at Foxtrot, taxi via Bravo.
17 at Foxtrot on Bravo for Stearman 1. And then, of course, again, like I said before, once he says it, I'm going to repeat it to him so that there's no misunderstanding. Barrett, the airplane is yours. Go ahead and slide your feet down to the bottoms of the pedals, away from the brakes, and add some power. Let's make this left-hand turn. And we're going to go out the taxiway here. All right, so bring the power back, go to the left, all the way to the left. Make this turn without using the brake.
So when do you make that decision of you need to use brake to turn versus not using brake to turn?
As required. You know, if you need some brake to turn, like we're pretty close, you may need a little bit to make this pretty sharp right-hand turn. And you can add some power. There you go. And now start coming back full right all the way to the stop. All right, good. And then straight on out. Good, and we'll make this left-hand turn. We're going to go down here.
I'll say proceed on to runway 17, full length.
Is that for us?
No.
So we're holding short Bravo, basically.
Yeah, we're good. Yeah, he gave us the directions to make this left-hand turn and go down to Foxtrot. So bring the power back. Don't let it get, as you can see, it'll start speeding up. I'm going to help you here. Yeah, there we go. We don't want to ground loop it here. Just keep it slow. She's still warming up. Kalamazoo ground, Stearman 1.
Stearman 1 ground.
Yeah, we'd like to do some air work to the east of the airport at 1,000 feet for about 10 minutes or so. And then if you guys aren't real busy, we like to do like 2 or 3 stop and goes.
Stearman run, roger.
All right, cool.
Kalamazoo ground 1, 2 Pop Whiskey at Golf. I'm ready to taxi back to 17. Plus 2 Papa Whiskey, Kalamazoo ground, runway 17, taxi via Golf Alpha Charlie, cross runway 5. Taxi via Golf Alpha Charlie, cross runway 5.
There, yeah, good. And that's what you want to do. If you want to go a little faster, you give a little bit of power, and then let it. And then if you leave the power in, it's just going to accelerate. So you give it a little bit of power, then you bring it back.
Right.
So they wanted us to go to runway 17 at Foxtrot intersection. You'll see that up here on your right. So we're on Bravo now. There's Foxtrot.
So when he's saying,
So you want to go up to make this right-hand turn, and then there's your whole short line. You see them there?
right. So we said we're holding short of Bravo, going to 17 via Foxtrot.
Go to 17 and Foxtrot. And sometimes they'll say, and hold short 17 at Foxtrot. So they'll say, Bravo to Foxtrot, hold short 17, Bravo and Foxtrot. So you just read that back to them.
Okay.
All right, cool. So go all the way to the right, all the way. We're going to do our run up, and we want to kind of have the airplane faced into the wind. All right, so if you don't know what the wind's doing, there's a windsock behind us, or way down there on the end. You can see it moving around. It's down there half a mile. It's right on your nose, okay? So I'm looking at my oil temperature right now, and it says about 35.
Yeah,
And so, okay. So go ahead and neutralize your rudder input. The stick's all the way back to your lap. That's good. And get on the brakes. So slide your feet to the tops of the pedals where the brakes are.
Yep.
Sticks back, perfect. Go ahead and bring the power forward to 1,300 RPM. Real slow on the power, because it won't take it. There you go. All right. Now your magneto switch is on the far left-hand side of the panel. Go ahead and switch that from both to L, to left. So that's the rear bank. So we just grounded the front bank, and it's fine, back to both.
So anything more than 100,
yeah, like right now you're at, go ahead and do it again to left. Good, that's fine. It's not missing on any plugs. Go ahead and go back to both, and then go over to right. It's still, and it sneezes because it's still cold. So you can go back to both. I'm going to bring our carburetor heat in here to hot, so I'll do that for you. You'll usually lose about 30 RPM, and it did. So the engine's fine, it's still a little cool. So you can bring the power back to about 800 RPM. There you go. That's the warm-up RPM setting is 800. All right, so this is what we got. We're going to let it warm up here a little bit more. While we're doing that, Barrett, let's talk about the takeoff. You've done it, what? This is going to be your 5th or 6th takeoff in this thing. So, so bring the power back a little bit. There we go. So let me just run it back through with you. So when we're cleared to take off, you'll taxi on out there. You'll line up the airplane with the center line of the runway. We're going to neutralize our stick, both front to back and left and right, because you don't have any crosswind today. You add power, you gently bring it all the way to full power. The airplane will accelerate down the runway. We're looking straight ahead. We're focusing on infinity.
Yep.
And by doing so, you can see the sides of the runway peripherally. When the tail comes off the ground, you know, because of P factor and torque, the airplane's going to go to the left.
Right.
So we're going to be ready for that. We're going to add a little right rudder. But when that tail comes off the ground, she's saying to you, okay, well, I'm ready to go.
Right.
So get the airplane off the ground where it's safe. We're still at minimal airspeed. Then you're going to lower the nose, let the airplane accelerate in what we call ground effect. And ground effect is a little cushion of air that's 1.5 wingspans. So this wingspan of this airplane is 32 feet. So it's basically 50 feet almost, 45 feet and below.
1.5 height?
I'm sorry?
You're saying 1.5 wingspan
Height above the ground. There's a little cushion of air under us, and that's what we want to let the airplane speed up to 75. And then once we start climbing on out, we're going to bring the power back to 1,800 RPM. That's our climb out, the RPM setting, and the throttle quadrant's going to be brought back about halfway. Got all that?
Yep.
I know you do. All right, I'm looking over your left shoulder. I don't see anybody landing. Let me call the guys in the tower. Kalamazoo Tower, Stearman 1. We're holding short 17 and Foxtrot ready for departure.
Stearman 1, Kalamazoo Tower, wind 200 at 9er. Left turnout approved, runway 17 at Foxtrot, clear for takeoff.
Clear for takeoff, 17 left turnout, Stearman 1. All right, so slide your feet back down to the bottom of the pedals. We don't need any more brakes. Yeah, it's going to still want to go to the left here, so if you want to add a little brake here, yeah, there you go, help it. Good, now we don't need any more brake.
So turn out left.
Yeah, we're going to go out to the east, and we're going to go to 1,000 feet. We're going to go through some turns. We don't need to do the lazy eights. We're going to do some stalls and some slow flight.
All right.
And then I want to leave it enough time to come in here and do a 3 takeoff and landings.
Okay.
Because that's really what you want to do. Let's go to the right. Right.
Oh, I thought you said take out left.
Oh, I'm sorry. We're going to take off to the south. We're going to make a left turn out.
Okay.
Okay.
Now I'm
So,
with you.
yep, so add some power, get it on that line there. And this is fine. I mean, you can see that. You can just make sure it's going straight. So we'll go a little bit more to your left there. All right, so neutralize your stick. Right about in there. Good. You ready to go?
I'm ready.
All right, so start bringing, as long as your heels are on the floorboard, we're gonna be fine. So when you're ready, start bringing that power forward.
Okay.
Delta 2 Papa Whiskey, runway 17, clear to land.
Good. Got a straight ride there. Go ahead and commit to the takeoff. Bring the power all the way forward. All the way. All the way. All right. So here comes the tail. Little right rudder. Good. She's ready to go. Great. Now lower that nose. Get to 75 miles an hour. And then bring the power back. 1,800 RPM. Good. So what we want to do is climb straight ahead at 75 miles an hour. We're going to kind of do this by the book today. When we get to 300 feet above the ground, that's when we're going to make a left-hand turn. So basically, we're looking for 1,100 feet, what we call MSL, miles above sea level. There's 200 feet AGL above ground level. So when we get to 1,100 feet, Barry, we'll make a left-hand turn out.
All right.
There you go, good. And remember, on that left-hand turn, you're not going to need to use any left rudder. Good. So for now, I know there's another airplane, or possibly two,
Contact ground 121.9.
in the pattern. So they're shooting patterns as well. So just keep on going straight for now.
All right.
And let's make another right-hand turn. Let's go back to the south. You'll remember on the right-hand turn, we're going to have to use one. There you go. Good job with the right rudder. Ball's right in the middle. Perfect. Nice shallow climbing turn. Let's roll out of this. Let's go back to the east. You can see our section line. There's a road ahead of you and to your left. That's east and west. So let's make a left-hand turn. Let's go to back to the east. Very nice. I like what you're doing. The shallow climbing turns are important to do a shallow turn because, again, the steeper your angle of bank, in this airplane, it loses so much lift, it won't climb anything more than about a 30-degree angle of bank. Let's make another right-hand turn. Let's go back to the south.
All right.
And you can see these houses here down below off your right wing. Those roads, north, south, east, and west. Big grid pattern. Good. we'll make one more left-hand turn.
Right.
Kalamazoo Southwest runway 2084 Romeo, 8 mile base, runway 17. Skyline 2084 Romeo, Kalamazoo Tower, wind 190 at 7, runway 17, clear to land. Clear to land 174 Romeo.
There you go, good. Cool. So here we are coming up on 1,500 feet. I'm going to turn him down a little bit. Let's climb up to 1,700 feet. So climb straight ahead, and then we'll level off at 1,700 feet.
1,700?
Yep, and then you'll bring the power back to 1,750 RPM, 1750. That's our cruising RPM setting. It's a little hazy today, and we were talking about weather a little bit earlier. So the haziness is moisture in the air. So when it's hazy, that means generally speaking, the air is going to be smooth. When the air is dry, you can see 60 miles, and clear, it's going to be clear. So I prefer days like today because it's going to be smooth for us.
Right.
All right, so here we are coming up on 1,700 feet. We'll level off when you're ready. And then we'll bring the power back to 1750. And so when you lower that nose, the RPM will increase, as you can see it doing now.
Okay.
All right, awesome. All right, Barrett, let's warm you back up, bring you back up to speed. The wires ahead of you are 45 degrees. Let's do it 360 left and right, 45-degree angle of bank. We want to maintain this altitude here if you can. Whenever you're ready, let's try it.
All right.
Perfect. I've said this to you, I don't know, 3 or 4 times. You're going to have to do this to get your license right here. Plus or minus 100 feet. That's why what we're trying to do is maintain altitude, and you're doing a great job of it right now. This is the only time I'm ever going to look at my vertical speed indicator because it's basically telling you trends.
Right.
270 is going to be right here. Keep it going left until we're heading back to the east. That'll be a 360. There you go. Let's try one right. Good. All right, 360 right. There's no one behind you. Whenever you're ready, let's try that. Good. 90 degrees is there. I'm looking off that road off your right wing. That's east and west. 180 degrees is there. So look at your vertical speed indicator. Right now you're in an updraft. So go ahead and lower that nose a little bit. That's 270 there. .360 there, good. You feeling good with that?
Yeah.
Okay. Let's make a left-hand turn. Let's go up to the north. There you go. All right, so let's do a couple of stalls here. We're going to do, 3 or 4 stalls. Go ahead and bring the power back to 1,300 RPM. There you go. Getting rid of that engine sound. Go ahead and lower that nose. You've done this before. We're going to do the same thing again until you can hear the whistle of the wind in the wires. Bring the power back a little bit more. Bring the power, no, power back. Back.
Oh, back.
Now, can you hear that whistle?
Yep.
Okay. So that's 70.
Yeah, we're going to need some more.
So go ahead and start bringing that nose on up. There you go. Now you're listening to it. This is actually kind of simulating what the flare is like. Bring the nose up some more. There you go. Come on back some more. And with a little power on, it just slows everything down. There you go.
So that's 50.
Yeah, and there's the stall. You can see the nose just fell.
Yep.
So it's not a big deal. Good. Go ahead and bring the power back in to 1750. So if I say when we're landing, if I say, okay, let's go around, that's how you're going to add the power. If you're going to throw the power to it, it's going to sneeze like it did on the back check. Okay, so you just want to ease the power on in. Let's go ahead and try power on stall. So this is simulates climbing out too steeply. Go ahead and bring that nose on up. And as the airplane's going up, you look at that little black ball, you're going to want to add a little right rudder. Keep that ball in the middle. A little bit more right rudder, a little bit more, a little bit more. Good. Bring the nose up some more.
Okay, never mind how to feel for them.
And then here's your stall here. Not a big deal, but look at your vertical speed indicator.
Yeah,
We're still sinking. And so if you did that low to the ground, you're going to see the ground rushing up to get you, which would not be fun.
I agree.
All right, let's do a 180 left or right, your choice. We'll go back to the south. There you go. All right, so this is really what I want you to do. We're going to do a power off stall. So I want you to bring the power back to 1100 RPM. All right, we're here almost at 1,000 feet above the ground. Actually, we are. All right, so I want you to adjust your angle of descent until the airplane's going 75 or 80 miles an hour. We're about 70 now, so lower that nose a little bit more. Lower that nose. There you go. Now, listen to that whistle. Can you hear it?
Yep.
All right, memorize that sound. I don't know what key that is, but that's what you want to hear on final. Okay, so bring the power back some more, all the way to idle. Good. This is going to stimulate the landing. So bring the nose on up. Keep the wings level. Bring the nose up some more. Up, 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 up. Up some more. And then there's your stall.
Yep.
So start bringing the power on in. Very good. Much better on the power application. Nice and gentle. Good. Let's climb back up. We'll go back up to 1,500 feet.
1,500.
Yeah, 1,500. Let's make a right-hand turn. We'll go to the west. Are you feeling comfortable with all that?
Yeah.
Okay. Good. You can see these roads here, east and west. We're going to go to the west here, and we'll climb back up to pattern altitude of 1,500 or 1,600 feet. Is there something else you wanted to do out here while we're out here at in open territory? Are you ready to go back in and shoot some landings?
Probably just shoot a quick approach.
You want to? Okay. Let's make a left-hand turn. Let's pick a field. The best thing to do is pick a field out of the way of anybody that is north-south, because that's the way the wind's going. So how about... Let me look around here. You know what? Let's make a right-hand turn.
All right.
To your right. There's an airport right there. You see it? The crash runway?
Yep.
So keep it coming right. Let's go back over here. That's not exactly north-south, but it's pretty close. It's off maybe 15, 20 degrees. All right, so keep going to your right. What we want to do is we want to get off the the east side of that runway. And right now we are at about 700 feet above the ground. Good. Okay, we'll roll the wings back to level. I believe, did we use this airport last year? It's right there. So now what I want you to do, Barrett, let's make a left-hand turn. And I know I'm throwing a bunch of stuff at you right now, so make a left-hand turn.
All right.
Instead of going into a field, empty farmer's field, we're going to use that established grass runway there. All right. Now, do you see the runway? It's off your left wing. It's right there.
I'm not seeing what you're seeing.
Okay. Look off your left wing. Not over here. Right on the tip. It's right there.
Okay.
Okay, you see it? So bring the power back to 1,300 RPM. When we get a little closer, it's hard to see him. I get it because it looks like a field. All right, so what we're looking for here is 75. That's what you got now. Let's go ahead and make a left-hand turn. We're looking for 30 degrees. We want to go, at this point, we want to go to the west. So you can pick up these section lines here. The runway starts right past those power lines.
Yeah.
Do you see it?
Yep.
Okay, good. When you're ready, it's all about you. I want you to make another left-hand turn. Line up here up and with the runway. Maintain 75 to 80 the whole way through. We're listening to that whistle. Good. Now you adjust your speed by using pitch. You adjust your rate of descent by power. So we're a little high, so I want you to bring the power back. And once you do that, you got to lower the nose. Let's go ahead and go around. So start bringing the power on in. 1,800 RPM, straight ahead, 75 miles an hour. Let's climb back up. Were you okay with that?
Yeah, just getting the attitude right.
Yeah. Yeah, that strip there obviously is pretty short. You know, our runway at Kalamazoo is 7,500 feet long, so you know you can land a 747 in there.
Right.
All right, so let's climb back up. We're going to go do the real thing here. We'll make a right-hand turn. Let's go back to the west. I've been monitoring the radio frequency at Kalamazoo. Good. We'll roll the wings to level here. Kalamazoo Airport is right ahead of you and a little off to your right. But no one's in the pattern right now, so this is perfect for us. Good. You see the airport off your right?
Yep.
Okay. So right now, we're going to be landing on the north-south runway. And we're going to the west, so we're going to keep on climbing. And you're going to be doing the same thing that you just did on that farmer strip there.
Yep.
Let me call the tower. Kalamazoo Tower, Stearman 1, we're about 2 miles to the southeast inbound. Stop and go, runway 17 available.
Stearman 1, Kalamazoo Tower, enter left downwind, runway 17.
Left downwind 17, Stearman 1. Let's go ahead and level off about 1,500 feet. And Barrett, we'll make a right-hand turn here to the downwind. Good. So here we are at about 1,500 feet. There we go. We want to roll out when we're parallel to our runway.
Yep.
And then we'll bring the power back to 1,750. Good. And what we're looking for now is we're looking for the tower to clear us to land. And maybe he can't see us. I don't know. I'm going to tell him where we're at. Kalamazoo Tower, Stearman 1, we're up in the tower.
Stearman 1, runway 17 cleared for the option.
For the option, Stearman 1. All right, so we're good. All right, so there's the numbers are off your left wing, the end of our runway. So bring the power back to about 1,400 RPM.
What do you say, option 2
Yeah.
3?
No, we're going to land on 17. So let's make our left-hand turn now. We want to go to the east. That road is east-west. Just fly parallel to that road. We're looking for 75 miles an hour.
Yep.
Wind check.
Wind 180 at 10.
So it's right on your nose blowing 11, 12 miles an hour. All right, so we're getting a little low out here, so go ahead and add some power. There we go. Let's hold her here.
What was wind?
What's that?
What was wind?
180 at 10.
Okay,
So you're right on your nose, you got 10-degree crosswind blowing. It's helping you. So if Mother Nature says, okay, well, this is a great day for doing this.
Right.
All right, so when you're ready to make this left-hand turn, go ahead and do so. And get it all lined up. And remember what I said, the altitude looks actually good because we don't want to let this thing get too low out here, then you can't see the runway.
Right.
Now, it's hard to hear the whistle right now because of the engine sound, but you're about ready to start bringing the power back. Then you can hear that whistle. All right, good. Okay. And we're going to come to a complete stop, not using brakes. All right, there's your runway. We have the runway made. Get it all lined up. Now start lowering the nose a little bit. Bring the power back. Bring the power back some more. Good. That's fine right there. So lower that nose, let it come on down. Right now you're at 65 miles an hour. It's going a little slow. All right, not too much. Let it come down, let it come down, let it come down, let it come down. Just let it come down. All right, it's not over.
Right. Only when we stop.
Yeah, just keep looking straight ahead. Good. So this is about where we started before, so get it back into the middle there so we can depart. All right. So we'll talk about that once we get her back off the ground. Sticks in neutral. Everything's looking good. It's in the red, I mean in the green. Go ahead and bring the power on. Let's go do it again.
All right.
Stearman's on the roll. And 17.
Stearman 1, roger.
Stick forward a little bit. That's neutral right there. Commit to the takeoff air. All the way forward on the power. All the way forward. All the way forward. All right. The tail's up. She's ready to go. Good. So lower the nose. Get yourself 75 miles an hour. Once you get 75, bring the power back to 1800. So here's what we're going to do on this next one.
All right.
Did you have a hard time seeing the runway on that one?
No, that was pretty good.
On final? This time we're going to be a little bit higher on short final, so we'll bring the power back a little bit more. You'll lower the nose, and I want you to be able to see the runway a little bit better. All right, so straight ahead.
Stearman 1, make left or right traffic, your choice.
Left traffic, Stearman 1. So same deal. So straight ahead to 200 feet, or 1,200 feet, then we're going to make a left-hand turn.
Okay.
So we're kind of going to the right, so go straight if you can. So on that one, what happened is, which is fine, you flared a little high.
Yeah.
So now, let it come down to the ground, and you have to kind of get used to how high you are above the ground. You want to bleed off the energy in the flare when you're about, a couple of feet above the ground. Let's go ahead and make a left-hand turn here.
Okay.
So we want to go to the east. There just so happens there's a road right there. Follow that road. There you go. So this is what's called our crosswind. We're crosswind right now for runway 17. So we're looking for about 1,500 feet on the downwind, coming up on 1,200 feet or so. That's fine. Let's go ahead and make another left-hand turn to the downwind. There you go. And again, we're looking for 1,500 feet here. Got any questions?
Should I be focusing on just keeping the runway straight, or do I need to like look at the glide path lights too?
I don't know. I think what we're going to do on this one, we're going to, again, like I said, we're going to keep it a little higher so that we can bring the power back a little bit more, so we can lower the nose. So the runways, I want the runway more visible to you on this next one.
Okay.
So what we'll do is we'll probably turn our base leg a little sooner than the last one.
Okay.
All right. Let's go up a little bit more here. Almost to 1,500 feet, then we'll bring the power back. Kalamazoo Tower, Stearman 1, we're to beam the tower.
Stearman 1, Kalamazoo Tower, wind 200 at 8, runway 17 cleared for the option.
Clear for the option, Stearman 1. All right, so bring the power back, 1,400. And I want you, this is Kilgore right underneath us. Let's go ahead and make our left-hand turn here.
All right.
Because what's happening is the wind, when you make this left-hand turn and go to the west, the wind's left to right, so the wind's blowing you to your right. So we're going to use that to our advantage. Just a little close in, but we'll end up over the interstate here. There you go. Good. So we're at 75 miles an hour. If the engine quits us now, are we going to make the runway? Yes. That makes me feel good. All right. So, as you make this left-hand turn to final, remember, you adjust your speed by using pitch. You adjust your rate of descent by using the throttle.
Right.
Good. So the wind blew us over to the right. So there's runway 17. Good. So now we're going from having a crosswind to a headwind. So our ground speed, airspeed's the same. Our ground speed just fell up. Okay. So get it all lined up. Lower that nose. Bring the power back. Bring the power back some more. And lower the nose. Lower the nose some more. Lower it some more. There's your runway. Lower that nose some more. So now you got the runway. You can see it.
Yep.
We got a little bit of power still dialed into the engine. Let it come on down. Let it come on down. Don't flare it yet. Let it come down. Let it come down. Let it come down. All right. So here we go. So we bring the nose up now. Keep it off the ground. Small. Come on back. Come on back. Come on back. Come on back. There. Now, it ain't over.
Nope. He's just kind of coughing.
There we go. As we slow down, it starts to wander like it's doing right now, which is normal. All right, here we are in the middle. You ready?
Yep,
Do
I'm ready.
one more? All right, so So everything's looking good. So it sticks in neutral there. Bring the power on in. Stearman's on the roll. One last. This is full stop for Stearman 1. Bring the power all the way in. All the way in.
Stearman 1, roger.
All right, so here comes the tail. Little right rudder. Good. Get yourself 75. That's going to be probably your best takeoff. Bring the power back to 1800. Okay, so of those two landings that we just did, which one are you most comfortable with? The first one or the second one?
Not really happy with either.
Really?
Yeah. I don't know which one do you think I did better?
You're setting the airplane down really smoothly, and that's a good thing, and that's we're being helped by Mother Nature on that. It's just a matter of what your preference is for what you're viewing. You know, if you like being a little, like on that second one, we were a little bit higher than the first one on final.
Okay. I guess I'm not experienced enough to really know the difference on it.
I mean, both landings were good. But this is our third and last one, so this was going to be our best, okay?
All right.
All right, Barrett, let's go ahead and make that left-hand turn here. We'll go out to the east. We're continuing our climb. Nice and smooth up here. I like it. All right, good. Right about here, we'll roll the wings back to level at 300 feet. There's 400 feet. And right about here, let's go ahead and make that left-hand turn for the downwind. Good. 500 feet above the ground here on the downwind. Good. So we're looking for 1600 feet.
All right.
Once we get that, we're going to bring the power back to 1750. There you go, good. All right.
Stearman 1, wind 190 at 7, runway 17, cleared to land.
All right, cool. So the wind hasn't changed at all, so it's right on your nose. So I don't know if you noticed, when you made your base turn over that road down there, and by the time you turned final, we were over the interstate. So the wind blew you that far over, which is what, like a quarter mile or so. So generally, you bring the power back when you're abeam the end of the runway. So when the 17 is on your wingtip, you bring the power back to about 1400 RPM.
Okay.
Right about now. All right, 1400 RPM. There's Kilgore Road down there, so I want you to go ahead and make your left turn now to your base. Good. So we're at about, what, 75, that's fine. A little high, I'm thinking. So bring the power back a little tiny bit, and then once you do that, you gotta lower the nose. There you go, that's good right there. All right. It's always better to start your turn too early than too late. So on for final, so we'll start our turn now.
All right.
Lower the nose. sock off your left down here by those lights. That's right on your nose. All right, so bring the power back a little bit more and lower the nose. Let it come down. Let it come down. So lower the nose some more. There you go. That's what I like to see right there. Let it come down. Don't flare yet. Let it come down. All right, so now we're right above the runway. Now keep it off the ground. Keep it off the ground. Come on back. Come on back. Come on back. There you go. And we chop the power. Keep it going straight. That, what do you think, that was your best? I think that was your
Stearman
best.
1, turn right at Foxtrot, taxi to parking via Bravo, this frequency.
Foxtrot, Bravo to the Airzo with you, Stearman 1. All right, cool. So he wants you on Foxtrot. So you see where it says F off to your right?
So is it this first one or second?
Second one. This is the runway right here.
Okay.
So add a little bit of power.
So when you're taxiing, even coming back from a runway, this would be like holding short of Bravo?
Yeah, if you told you to hold short of Bravo, you wouldn't cross that line.
Okay.
So now the wind is on your nose as you drive down to the museum. So yeah, you want that stick all the way back. And the only reason he would tell you that is, let's say a jet was on this, or an airplane was taxiing, so you wouldn't cross that line. Cool. Do you feel you learned anything today, or do you feel good about what you did?
I felt like the last landing was better.
Yeah.
Just getting the feel for it again after not having been in the seat for a while.
Yeah, I hear you. You're doing a nice job. I mean, today, just like the last time, it was perfect because the wind was right down the runway. Now, crosswind, this airplane and crosswinds they don't like each other, because it doesn't want to go straight down the runway. It's really nasty.
Oh, yeah.
But if you recall, when you were flaring, and I would say every time I said it, I said, keep it off, keep it off, keep it off. You know, you just gently keep bringing the stick back, and by keeping the airplane off the ground, what you're doing is you're bleeding off energy, and you're bleeding off speed in the air, not on the ground. There we go.
A little pop from the engine.
Yeah. There you go. We'll go straight in. And that's your last little light there that we can hit. So now we can no longer hit any lights. I'm going to have you see if you can put it back where you found it. Here's your challenge, a little obstacle course here.
All right,
So just go straight. Yeah, might want to go a little to your left. The front of the F4 has a pitot tube sticking out there. Good.
yeah, probably want to avoid that. In the tow gear.
Yeah, you can go straight. Don't go too far left. Now go back to the right. This is what's cool about this airplane. I have an inner flight in this, so we don't care if we block the new standard. So go all the way to the left, as far as you can go. Now give it a little power and apply a little brake. Tap on the left brake. All right. Now let go of the brake. Let it roll. And power all the way to idle. Awesome. Okay, shut her down. Bring the mixture back to lean. And give it a little bit of power. Hold that right there.
And there it goes.
And once the propeller stops, magnetos to off. And then bring the power back to idle. And you see that little red bar by your left ankle?
Yep, this one?
Yep, go ahead and push that forward and down. Right there, yep, that's our control. Now you can release the stick into the little cradle, and that's it.
All right.
She's ready. Nice job.